Hi, James. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I watched the film, and honestly, I was on the edge completely because it's a complete pleasure to see someone who is so harmless and who doesn't take too many risks to have this 180-degree turn and be this reckless person. Tell me, is it something that kind of inspired you? I mean, everything. The motive is love. Here, is it something that you got inspired from your personal experience?
Yes, I was just saying to somebody that I was intrigued when you look up the origin of the word amateur. It comes from the root of the word love and loving. It's somebody who does something for love, not
Yeah.
professionally. And I think that suits Charlie Heller's character exactly. I love the fact that everything that drives him is a passion.
Mhm.
And I think it's an interesting discussion about whether he does things for justice or revenge, but to be moved to balance the scales for Sarah and to give a spy story that kind of passion felt very fresh and honest.
And also very challenging because you have to make sure that it looks like Charlie is doing everything for the first time. He is very reckless. He is not really, like you said, he's not professional. So, I mean, all his actions are very hazy and very unsure of what he's doing. What was your brief, and how did you sort of manage all of those logistical and physical challenges that you faced?
I think it was all about what it says on the tin, the amateur. We didn't want him to suddenly be too cool.
Hmm.
The awkwardness and the nervousness is part of what makes his character likable and true. When he ends up in a fight with Gretchen's character, he suddenly does not have any martial art moves. He
Yeah.
just has to grab at her because he's desperate to keep her there to give him an answer. So it was always just driven by what does the character want in this moment? What do they need to achieve? What can Charlie realistically achieve in that instance? You're right, we had to keep it rooted, we had to be very tough on ourselves.
Absolutely. But which is that one scene that you are extremely proud of yourself? Because I feel like there's so many scenes that I could pick where I was like, oh my God. Personally, I think the moment where you see Charlie have that moment, um, wherein there is this. The other spy comes in and just says that can I just have a moment, and can
Mm,
I
mm.
just feel it brings a lot of depth and emotional vulnerability in that scene, which is one of my favorites. For you,
Yeah,
which is your favorite scene?
I agree with you. That was a magical moment.
Yeah.
And I went up to Katrina afterwards and hugged her and said, look, I knew you would be brilliant, but I didn't know you would deliver quite like this. It brought tears to our eyes on the set watching that. Again, I think you've picked on something that defines the film a little bit differently because the
Hmm.
conventional version of this show, that would turned into a sex scene. Um, and that's not wrong, but that was
Yeah.
not what our characters wanted in that moment. It was a different kind of connection. I mean, there are lots of scenes. Obviously, there are challenging logistical scenes like the swimming pool and the climax with Schiller at the end. You've picked on a detailed performance moment, and I think that's right. Finding some of those quiet moments, creating the whole showdown at St Pancras Station and that whole chase through
Yeah.
choreographing the attack and the kidnap and execution of Sarah. That was pretty demanding.
But I have to tell you, you did a wonderful job because I was continuously hooked and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, I understand where he's coming from. So I'm not judging his character at any point because I see the reason why he would be provoked to do that. Was that necessary for you to give that strong reasoning? Because, I mean, like you said, it could easily turn into any other spy drama or film. But that moment and those moments is where you know that this is coming from a place of real vulnerability and need to find a closure in ways because that person feels wronged.
I think you're entirely right. That's absolutely where it comes from. And, we worked hard in the edit and even with a couple of additional scenes to make sure that you understood each of his little pivots, each of his turning points where he decides early in the film, for instance, to blackmail his bosses,
Yeah.
um, where he goes to the shrink and here's the message in the end, it's down to you, which he, of course, interprets differently.
Yeah.
But making those huge decisions, because what he's effectively carrying out there is an act of treason in the first
Hmm.
place. as he is told. So that was
Yeah.
very important to make sure that we took the audience with us along each of those moments. So I'm thrilled that you think we succeeded.
I think definitely you succeeded. And what is it, if I can ask you two things that really excites you about this genre, apart from, of course, making it the way you have already, is there two things that is a must when you are sort of dealing with this genre?
Yes, one of them we've touched on, so I'll just say that briefly, but is about having strong characters at the heart of
Hmm.
it. Otherwise, it's all just about clashing metal. And then that's fun. Of course, it's fun to have all that action and to choreograph those big sequences and to try and make them as original as possible. But you want to care about the people at the heart of it. I guess the other thing is just I love the way the genre tips the world on its head. It
Yeah.
throws our heroes against everything around them, what they think is the right way up, black is white, right and wrong. They have to reevaluate who they trust, where the threat is coming from. And really, in the world we look at the moment, outside of entertainment, I think it's a fair reflection of our insecurity, and espionage movies are a very good way to examine that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, James, for your time and all the very best. I hope people enjoy it as much as I did.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for being so
Thank
positive.
thank you. Thank you so
Bye bye.
much. Bye.